Hi, hello, welcome to Homeschool. This is your class 10 mathematics. In mathematics, formulae plays a major role. So in this session, we are going to discuss about all the formulae what we have in class 10 mathematics. And according to your Karnataka State Board, already your paper pattern is changed and you'll be having only 2 papers, and in your first paper, mathematics, science, social, combinedly you are going to write for 120 marks. Whereas mathematics you are going to write only for 40 marks. And that 40 marks, minimum 10 questions we can expect from the formulae what you have in your class 10 mathematics. So this session we are going to start with all the formulae, and next session onwards we are going to discuss each and every chapter, minimum 20 multiple choice questions. Okay, let's start with our first chapter, arithmetic progression. General form of arithmetic progression: a plus d, a plus 2d, so on up to a plus n minus 1 into d. And we can give this with a term number. First term, second term, third term, and this is called as the last term or nth term. Why? We don't know the last number, so we can write it as nth term. A1, A2, A3, so on up to An, you can say. This is your general form, and this last term we call it as a nth term or last term, and this is called as a general term of arithmetic progression. General term or nth term of AP, that is An is equal to A plus n minus 1 into D. Why it is An last term, right? What is the last term number? We don't know. Suppose this one, if you want, you can say A1, A2, A3, you can say. But this is which term we don't know, so we are saying it as An. Therefore, general term An is equal to A plus n minus 1 into D, which is very important formula for this chapter. Now let us come to know what are all these. An is the last term, or you can say it as L, last term value also you can say. A, first term, and D, common difference. How do we get D common difference, children? See here, A2 minus A1, A3 minus A2. Any difference of two numbers will be constant. How do we get common difference in arithmetic progression? The difference between a term and its preceding term. Term and its preceding term difference is constant. That means A2 minus A1 is equal to A3 minus A2, or it is equal to A4 minus A3. Every page difference is equal or it is constant. Then that is represented by the letter small d, common difference. Suppose if the given progression is in AP set, then no need of finding all the pairs. Only first pair you can take. A2 minus A1 will give you the common difference. N, term number. A1, A2 means what? A1 first term, A2 second term, A3 third term, An nth term. N indicates the term number. This is a formula we use for the arithmetic progression from starting. First, second, third term given, so on, find 10th term, find 20th term. We use this formula. Then what about the arithmetic progression? When your last term and its before term given, you need to find 10th term from last. 10th term from last, how can you find? There is another formula. This formula is only to find from starting of the progression. From ending of the progression you need to find means, that is An is equal to L minus n minus 1 into D. L is a last term. If you know common difference, and n, suppose from last find 10th term means A10 is equal to L minus 10 minus 1 into D. You can calculate any term value. Okay. So L is the last term. We know about a sequence. Sequence means it is an orderly arrangement of numbers by a definite order. That numbers, if we add, we get a series. Okay, sum of the sequence is nothing but a series. Series is represented by the letter S. Now we are going to see the formula sum of n terms. Sum of n terms is represented by Sn. Suppose sum of 10 terms, if I say S10. Sum of 20 terms, S20. Term number, how many terms you need to add? 20 terms or 10 terms if you need to add, we need to write that in value. Formula is Sn is equal to n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. When you know a and d, you can go with this formula. Okay, coming to another formula, this is also sum of n terms. In arithmetic progression, when you know first term and last term, you can apply directly this formula. That is Sn is equal to n by 2 into a plus l. And one more formula, when you know nth term and sum of nth term and s of n minus 1 term, if you know, you can apply this formula. Suppose in these three, anyone might be missing, you can use by this formula. An is equal to Sn minus Sn minus 1. If A, B, C are in arithmetic progression, then Am, arithmetic mean is what? Arithmetic mean, how can we find? We don't know the formula, right? So, just understand here, these three are in AP. Are in AP means their common difference will be constant. So, let us find the common difference first. A1, A2, A3. A2 minus A1 is equal to A3 minus A2. A2 value is B, A1 value is A, A3 value is C, A2 value is B. Now this minus B, bring this side, it becomes plus B. And minus A transpose other side, plus A plus C. B plus B will be 2B, 2B is equal to A plus C. And send this multiple to other side, it will be divided. A plus C by 2. B is equal to A plus C by 2. This is the formula for arithmetic mean. Arithmetic mean B is equal to A plus C by 2. Suppose they may give you any numbers. 2x, 8 they will say. Find the arithmetic mean. That means you just take the middle value. X is equal to, add these two, A plus C by 2, right? And these three are in AP, they should give. If they give that, directly you can take X is equal to 2 plus 8 by 2, that is 10 by 2. Arithmetic mean, X value is equal to 5. If they ask you any 3 terms sum and 3 terms product, if they ask you, just go with A plus D and take before term. If you need before term, subtract the common difference. Sum of 3 terms, sum of any 3 terms given means better go with these 3 terms. When you add, D will be eliminated. Okay, then you are going to get A value, that A value. You substitute in product of terms, you get D value. If you know A and D value, any term you can find. Same manner, 4 terms, 5 terms, 6 terms, I already have discussed with you in your arithmetic progression chapter, introduction part. Coming to your second chapter, triangles. In this chapter, minimum formulas are there and many statements. Application of that statements we may use in multiple choice questions. Okay, let's start first. Similar triangles. What are similar triangles? If two triangles are said to be similar, if their corresponding angles are equal and their corresponding sides are in proportion. See here, corresponding. Suppose if these two triangles are there, okay, the corresponding angle means this angle is corresponding to this and this is corresponding to this and this angle is corresponding to this. Suppose if they give you this is A, B, C, P, Q, R. So now observe here, angle A corresponding to angle Q, angle B corresponding to angle B, angle C corresponding to angle R. These two triangles are said to be similar if the corresponding angles are equal and their corresponding sides ratio are in proportion. Sometimes they will give you angle and they ask you the other triangle angle. And they say these two triangles are similar, find the missing angle. Same manner, one of the side will be missing. These two triangles are similar, find the missing side, they may ask you. Okay. Next, coming to basic proportionality theorem. Observe this triangle. If a line is drawn parallel to any one side of a triangle, okay, intersecting other two sides at distinct points, it divides other two sides in proportion. That means what we need to remember here, if they have given DE is parallel to BC. If these two lines are parallel, then the ratios are in proportion. Which ratio? AD by DB is equal to AE by EC. AE by EC. Similarly, they may give you any type of triangle. Okay. If these two lines are parallel, you can able to identify the ratios which are in proportion. They may give you AD, DB, AE, EC values will be given. That any one value will be missing. You need to find by using this ratio. Similarly, converse of basic proportionality theorem. If the ratios are in proportion, then the two lines are parallel. Some question they may ask, are they parallel or not? Check. So at the time, check whether the ratios are in proportion. If they are in proportion, they are parallel. If they are not in proportion, they are not parallel. Next, Pythagoras. Pythagoras theorem is very important for us, but this year there are no theorems, only multiple choice questions. So, what is this theorem? In a right-angled triangle, this is right angle, right? In a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse. Where is hypotenuse for this triangle? This is hypotenuse. AC is the hypotenuse. Square of the hypotenuse is equal to sum of the squares of other two sides. That is your statement. They may give you the value of any two sides and they ask you find the missing side. You can use directly this formula. What is that? Hypotenuse square is equal to sum of the squares of other two sides. According to the given right triangle letters, you need to frame the formula. Next one, Pythagorean triplets. What are these Pythagorean triplets? Check whether these are Pythagorean triplets or not. They will ask. They may give you three numbers, 3, 4, 5. In these three, which is greater? 5 is greater. See here, in a right triangle, greatest side is the hypotenuse. Now, if I take this as a hypotenuse, what is the formula? Hypotenuse square is equal to sum of the squares of other two sides. Check if this satisfies, then this is a Pythagorean triplet. 5 5s are 25, 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are 16. 16 plus 9 will be 25, 25 equal to 25. Yes, it satisfies. Then this forms a Pythagorean triplet. Like this, if you know any three numbers, in that three, greatest number is the hypotenuse. If this equal to this, then it is a Pythagorean triplet. If it is not equal, then it is not a Pythagorean triplet. Coming to your next concept. Suppose in a right angled triangle, if a perpendicular is drawn from the right angled vertex to the hypotenuse, at that time you need to remember three important formulas. What are those? Let me take first one. I just see here, see this side, observe here carefully. I am saying AB square. AB square is equal to AB square. Which letter is touching hypotenuse? A. Okay. So, observe carefully. AP into AC. AB square is equal to AP into AC. If I take this side, AB square, A is touching hypotenuse. small path and full hypotenuse, AP into AC. How we are going to get this also, I will say. And coming to your second one, I take this side. BC square is equal to CP into CA. What is this? This side, which letter is touching hypotenuse? C. BC square is equal to, from here, path and full hypotenuse, CP into CA. And coming to next one is this perpendicular length. BP square. BP square is equal to AP into PC. AP into PC. How we are going to get these three formulas, children? See here, this big triangle and this triangle, if you compare, you are going to get one formula. This triangle and this triangle, if you compare, you are going to get one formula. And this small triangle and this small triangle, if you are going to compare, the two triangles, you can make them similar. If they are similar, then the sides are in proportion. So when you equate the sides ratio, you are going to get this formulas. Okay. AB square is equal to AP into AC, BC square is equal to CP into CA, and BP square is equal to AP into PC. These formulas, when you are going to apply, when this and this value is given, find PC. So at that time, directly you can say BP square is equal to AP into PC. Apply that formula, you can find the PC length. Same manner, suppose if they give you this length and this is not given, AC length is given. So at the time, directly you can apply BC square is equal to CP into CA and find the missing length. So in this chapter, we can expect most of the multiple choice questions either from the application of BPT or area of two similar triangles. What is the formula you need to remember? Area of triangle ABC. The two triangles are ABC and DEF. That is, area of triangle ABC by area of triangle DEF is equal to, what are all these square ratios, children? These are all the sides square ratio. BC square by EF square, AB square by DE square, AC square by DF square. Suppose if any two triangles, the two triangles are similar, we are saying. If they are similar and the areas will be given, one triangle, one side will be given, another triangle side will be missing. At that time, area of this triangle by area of this triangle is equal to this side square by this side square, you write, and then if you substitute all the values, you can find this side value. To find the missing side or to find the area of another triangle, you can use this. And one more formula, that is a well-known formula for you, that is area of a triangle. Area of a triangle is equal to half into base into height. And you have in this chapter similarity criteria, AAA, SAS. If two triangles are given, by using the similar criteria, check whether they are similar or not. Coming to your next chapter, that is chapter number 3, pair of linear equations in two variables. Pair of linear equations. Linear equations means its highest power or the degree is 1. That is linear equation. Pair of linear equations in two variables. What are the two variables? X and Y. What is the standard form for this? Standard form of linear equation in two variable. That is Ax plus By plus C equal to 0. Observe here. Standard form of linear equation in two variable is this one. Standard form of pair of linear equations means you need to write these two. Okay, observe carefully. What is the standard or a general form of linear equation in two variables? That is Ax plus By plus C equal to 0, where A, B, C are real coefficients and X and Y are variables, where A square plus B square cannot be equal to 0. These are all the conditions you need to remember. Sometimes you may have a chance of asking, what is the standard form of linear equation for one variable Ax plus B equal to 0? where A cannot be equal to 0. Next, coming to standard form of pair of linear equations in two variables. So, two variables will be same and I need to write in the form of two equations. Two equations I cannot write AB only. So, in order to split that, A1 for the first equation and for the second equation A2. B1 for first equation, B2 for second equation. And finally we say A1x plus B1y plus C1 equal to 0 and A2x plus B2y plus C2 equal to 0 are the standard form of pair of linear equations in two variables. And now by using these two equations, this complete chapter depends with the two equations. And you know, linear equations, if we plot in a graph, we are going to get a straight line. Do you know everyone? A linear equation, if we plot in a graph, we are going to get a straight line. Straight line. So now these two equations, we are going to find how will be their graphical representation and how will be their algebraic solutions. We can verify with a tiny table. Look here, for any two equations, if we compare the two equations with the standard form, suppose if A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. If A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2, what you can say? The two lines will be intersecting at one point. What is the graphical representation? The lines will be intersecting or intersecting lines. And what will be their algebraic solution? Algebraic means what? The two equations, if you solve by either substitution method, elimination method or cross multiplication method, you get a solution. How will be the solution? It will be unique or one solution. You can write here unique or one solution. Okay, and what is its consistency? It is having a solution. Therefore, the equations are consistent. And coming to your next case here, A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is equal to C1 by C2. When all the three ratios are equal, then how will be the graphical representation? The two lines are overlapped. That means the two lines are coincident. If they are coincident graphically, how many solutions do they have? They are having infinitely many solutions. And they have a solution. Therefore, the consistency is they may be consistent or they may be dependent. Okay, what you can say? They are having a solution. Therefore, they are consistent and they are dependent. Okay, if all the ratios are equal, they are coincident lines and they will be having infinitely many solutions and they are consistent or dependent. Coming to your last case, if A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is not equal to C1 by C2. If these two ratios are equal and this is not equal, then how will be the graphical representation? The two lines will be parallel. If they are parallel, how many solutions they are having? They are not intersecting at any point. Therefore, there is no solution. And it is inconsistent. No solution, no, it is inconsistent. Here are multiple choice questions. Regarding these cases, they may ask. They may give you the two lines are parallel. Find B2 value. So, if they are parallel, other three values they might be given, B2 might be missing. So, you know A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2. If you equate these two ratios, you are going to get B2 value. And they give you any two equations, they ask you whether have a solution or no solution, or they will be consistent or they are inconsistent. They may be asking many questions regarding this table. Coming to your next chapter, chapter number 4, circles. About circles, you know minimum points. That is, what is the center, radius, diameter, chord, and what is the biggest chord of a circle. These all things you know. Now today in this session, we are going to learn 4 or 5 points. Coming to first point, tangent. What is a tangent? Tangent is a line which is touching at one point of circumference of a circle. This is a line is touching at one point of circumference of a circle. The line is touching at only one point, and that intersecting point is called as a point of contact. So, for this point, how many tangents you can draw? Only one tangent. And finally, for a circle, how many tangents you can draw means? Infinitely many tangents you can draw. How you can say this word? Look here, you can use this point and draw one tangent. And for this point, one tangent. And for this like this. Total circumference, every point you can draw a tangent. So, how many tangents you can draw a circle? There are infinitely many tangents. Okay. And if the question is from a point on a circle, how many tangents you can draw? From any point on a circle, you can draw only one tangent. See the difference what I am saying. To a circle, how many tangents? Infinitely many tangents you can draw. A point on a circle, how many tangents means? Only one tangent. Okay, is this clear? Suppose if a point is inside the circle, how many tangents you can draw? I cannot draw any tangents. A tangent, it is only touching its circumference of a circle. It is not going inside. Then that is not called as a tangent. Then one more point you need to remember. Suppose if a point is somewhere here, how many tangents you can draw from an external point? How many tangents you can draw? You can draw two tangents. Look here, from here, one, and from here, one tangent. That means you can draw two tangents if the point is outside the circle. Suppose if the point on a circle, how many tangents you can draw? Only one tangent. If the point is inside the circle, how many tangents you can draw? 0. You cannot draw any tangents. Suppose if the point is outside the circle, you can draw two tangents. Suppose if the point is inside the circle, I am saying. Then what is the line which passes through the point inside the circle? Then this line we call it as a secant. What is secant? It is a line which passes through the circle, intersecting at 2 points on the circumference of a circle, or it intersecting the circle at 2 points. Then that line we call it as a secant. Tangent, only 1 point. Secant, 2 points. I hope it is clear now, right? Next, coming to theorem statements. 2 theorems you have in this chapter. That is, a tangent from any point on a circle is perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. Suppose you can see here, you can see 2 tangents arrived here. So, this is center. Suppose if I join, the point of contact is always perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. This is 90, this will be 90. And suppose here, look here, if I join to center, this will be 90 and this side will be 90. So what is the point you need to remember? A tangent from any point on a circle is perpendicular to the radius through the point of contact. Next theorem statement. The length of 2 tangents, P is external point, O is the center, and these 2 are the tangents. The length of 2 tangents from an external point to the circle are equal. What we can say? the length of two tangents from an external point to a circle are equal. What does it mean? PA is equal to PB. And you know that angle A and angle B are perpendicular, right? Then this is 90, 90. It looks like a quadrilateral. Opposite angle sum will be 180. In your multiple choice questions, they may give you, if this is 110, what is this? And suppose if this is 50, what is this? Like this, they may ask you questions. There is nothing to worry. Opposite angle sum will be 180. 180 minus 110 will be 70 degree. Right? Suppose if this is 50, then this will be 130 degree. Any one angle will be missing. You can answer directly in your multiple choice questions. Okay? Next, coming to your next chapter is areas related to circles. That chapter is not there for this year. And your sixth chapter is constructions. And there is no statements or formulas to remember from this chapter. So let's go to the seventh chapter, coordinate geometry. In a Cartesian plane, horizontal line we call it as a x-axis, x dash, and vertical line we call it as a y-axis, y dash. And it is divided into four quadrants: first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. And you are going to come across two words, abscissa and ordinate. Abscissa, what is abscissa? Distance from y-axis to any coordinate on x-axis, or you may say x coordinate. Abscissa is also called as x coordinate. X coordinate or abscissa. What is abscissa? The distance from y-axis. Suppose look here, if I take 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from here to here, what is the distance? 1 unit, right? So what is the distance? 1. X coordinate value is 1. And look here, this one. From here to here, 2 units. X coordinate value is 2 or abscissa value is 2. What is abscissa? The distance from y-axis. Distance of any point from y-axis is called as a x coordinate or abscissa. Then coming to ordinate. What is ordinate? Distance of any point from x-axis is called as a y coordinate or ordinate. Look here, from here to here it is 1 unit. Distance from x-axis is 1 unit, and this is called as a y coordinate value or ordinate value. Ordinate is nothing but y coordinate. Okay, so if I say this one, it is at 2 units distant from x-axis and ordinate value is 2 or y coordinate value is 2. Okay, is this clear? So you can say abscissa this side or this side. It is a point distance from y-axis, any point it might be. Either it may be positive scale or it might be negative scale. -2, -3, -1, -2. Okay. So coming to your next point. What is a coordinate at origin? Origin means this one. Origin. Origin is represented by the letter O. And what is its coordinate value? X-axis value is 0 and y-axis value is 0. Origin you can represent with the letter O, 0, 0, or directly you can say the coordinate at origin is 0, 0. Why? X-axis it is 0, y-axis also it is 0. Both x-axis and y-axis intersect at a point that is 0. That point we call it as a origin. Point on x-axis. Suppose if I take a point here on x-axis, there is a value that is -2. Then what about y? Y it is 0. Y scale, what is the value you have? 0. So therefore, what you can say? Point on x-axis. X will be having a value. So therefore, x will be having a value and y value is 0. And coming to next one, point on y-axis. Suppose if there is a point on anywhere on y-axis, y will be having a value and x will be 0. That will be represented as 0 comma y. Point on x-axis, x comma 0. Point on y-axis, y will be having a value and x scale will be 0. That will be 0 comma 5. Next, in this chapter, very important formula is distance formula. Distance formula when I talk, it may be any 2 points distance in a Cartesian plane, A 1, 3 and B 4, 1. What is the distance between these two coordinates? So how can you find this distance? By using a formula. If you know the letters A, B like this, if you know, instead of small d, you can write AB. Okay. So, but actually what is your formula? D is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Or, observe here in your multiple choice questions, they won't give this option, they may give you this option. Check which one is right, then you can tick for this also. Why? If you do x2 minus x1 and x1 minus x2, if you do, either it may be changed with a negative sign. That change will be vanished when you do whole square. What is 2 whole square? 4. What is minus 2 whole square? It is also 4. Suppose if you do x2 minus x1, you may get 2. x1 minus x2, if you do, you may get minus 2. But both if you do whole square, you get the same answer. Therefore, distance formula, you can use either this or this. D is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Or D is equal to square root of x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square. Okay. Any two coordinates you will be knowing, you can find the distance easily. And don't forget to write distance with units. Suppose you get answer 5. Distance is equal to 5 units you need to write. Okay. So next one. Distance from origin. Suppose from here. What is the distance to this point, I may ask you. Distance from origin. You no need of writing 4 minus 0 whole square plus 1 minus 0 whole square. No need of writing. You can apply this formula or directly you can go with that formula. If this is a coordinate, find the distance from origin means you need to take a formula. D is equal to square root of x square plus y square. This is x and this is y. That is square root of 4 square plus 1 square. That will be 4 4s are 16 plus 1 1s are 1. 16 plus 1 17. Square root of 17 units from the origin. Section formula means what? Where you are going to apply? Suppose if you have a line segment. A line segment and this is having coordinates and it is divided in the ratio 3:2. A line segment is divided in the ratio 3:2 and this will be having some coordinate and this will be having some coordinate. I may mark it as x1, y1 and this one as x2, y2. It may be any value here. Okay. So observe here where we are going to use section formula. Division of a line segment where it is to be divided. You know the ratio of division. In 3:2 ratio, you need to divide this line. And what is the coordinate? What is the new coordinate? I may write it as px comma y. In order to find this coordinate, we use this formula. Or suppose you know the coordinate, you need to find the division of ratio. Okay, what is the ratio it is divided means? Again, you may use the same formula. So, what is the formula? Px comma y is equal to, easy to remember children, m1 m2, m1 m2, m1 m2, m1 m2. What you need to remember here? x2 x1, y2 y1. Okay, m1 x2 plus m2 x1 by m1 plus m2. m1 y2 plus m2 y1 by m1 plus m2. Midpoint, how we are going to calculate, children? In a line segment, if the end coordinates are x1, y1, x2, y2. Midpoint, let me give the coordinate as px comma y. How do you get x comma y value? X coordinates add and divide by 2, comma y coordinates add and divide by 2. That is p of x comma y is equal to x1 plus x2 by 2, comma y1 plus y2 by 2. Okay, centroid formula for a triangle. I am talking here in a Cartesian plane. What is the centroid of a triangle? 3 coordinates in a Cartesian plane given. Suppose, look here, like this something given. What is centroid of this triangle? At that time, what you need to find? Line segment midpoint means added and divided by 2. And now 3 coordinates middle means 3 coordinates add and divide by 3. That is p of x comma y. This centroid coordinate is px comma y is equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3, comma y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3 will give you the centroid of a triangle. Coming to your last formula, which is very important formula in this chapter, area of triangle. Actual area of a triangle formula is half into base into height. But in this Cartesian plane, if 3 coordinates are given, what is the formula? Area of a triangle, capital A is equal to, you need to find this area. Okay, how to remember easily, children? Just you write here half x into y minus y plus x into y minus y plus x into y minus y, you write. And then 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, you remember. Okay, have to remember the formula. Area of a triangle A is equal to half of x1 into y2 minus y3 plus x2 into y3 minus y1 plus x3 into y1 minus y2. Next type of question will be, if 3 coordinates are collinear. If they are collinear, what you need to do? Area of a triangle is equal to 0. Instead of any one coordinate, it may be missing and they may give you k or p or any letter. That value you need to calculate means you equate this to 0, you are going to get the answer.